Hello world and all who inhabit it. I was going to film a different video today, but I just don't think I can. I don't think I'm in the mental state, and I will explain why. So I'm just going to tell a story. At the end of last year, around October, I experienced a health issue. So for a long time, I've been having stomach problems. This has been going on for like 10 plus years, and it's just been something on and off that I haven't really gotten any answers to still. I was referred to a gastroenterologist, but frankly, I've been hesitant to follow up on that just because I'm afraid of cost. And you'll see that that's pretty justified as I get into the rest of the story. I did at one point call a gastroenterologist, and they basically told me that they weren't taking new clients. I just gave up. I was really discouraged, and I pay for a PPO, which actually has higher copays, I found out. I don't know why I have a PPO, to be honest with you. I really don't understand the insurance thing, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like there's so much big words and this policy and this, and you have to compare, and it's like so confusing. And I know everybody feels that way when it's time, when open enrollment, is at your job. It's like so scary and stressful. And I frankly think that I've chosen the wrong insurance, to be honest with you, but here we are. And I re-enrolled with them like a dummy, but whatever. I mean, I'm just doing what is easiest for me. And I felt like if I use the same insurance, then I could keep all the doctors that I've been using. And I was afraid that if I switched insurance, that I would lose all those doctors. But now I'm regretting that decision. So I've been having these stomach issues on and off for a while. I've been afraid of the cost associated with trying to get some sort of diagnosis. And I've been able to keep it manageable just by diet and lifestyle choices. But something changed. And I think partially it's probably because I stopped going to the gym around the holidays. So when I stopped working out consistently, I think, and I kind of was cutting loose for the holidays, is when things kicked in. So it was end of October. I just felt violently ill. I couldn't throw up, but I just had a sharp pain in my abdomen, and it lasted for hours. I had a really restless and painful sleep. I was awake. It started around 2 p.m. and then it went all the way through the night. And I figured if it kept going through to the morning that I would just call out of work and go to urgent care. And it did continue through the night. I had a pretty restless sleep. So I texted my boss at 5 in the morning, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to come in, which I've gotten some repercussions for, unfortunately, at my job. I didn't pick the best day to call out. There was a mandatory thing we were all supposed to be at, but I was writhing in pain in my bed, and I have gotten some flack for that. So anyways, so I called out, and then my husband took me to urgent care. I went to urgent care. They basically told me that there was a lot of inconclusive tests. They sent in some, my breath for some reason. They made me drink some weird drink and then breathe into a bag and then sent that in for testing. I actually never got results on that, which is so strange because that was months ago. I guess they were testing for some sort of bacterial thing. I guess if it was positive, maybe they would have told me. I don't know. The doctor told me that they didn't have the equipment to test for the things that it could be. So she said, if your pain continues tonight, then I recommend going to the ER. I wasn't eating this whole time, obviously. I was scared to eat. I was starting to feel a little better. And so me and my husband were like, where should we eat? I said, let's go to Panera. I'll have some chicken noodle soup, right? That can't be that bad. I don't know. I guess probably it was. I probably could have just sipped on some bone broth maybe. I really didn't know what was going on with me. At this point, I was starting to feel better. I still actually, to be honest with you, do not know what happened to me. So if you're looking for clarity on what was wrong with me, you're not going to get it. I didn't get it, which is crazy because of where the rest of the story goes, that after all of that, I still don't have answers. Fantastic. That night, I started to feel the pain again, and it was really severe again. My husband took me to the ER because the urgent care doctor told me to go just in case it was appendicitis. That was the recommendation made to me by the doctor that I saw, so I followed on that recommendation. So I went to the ER. The service was pretty good. They saw me fast. It wasn't anything about that. Obviously, it's the ER, so you're there for a few hours, and you're surrounded by, sick people who are throwing up and, dying. They ran a bunch of tests on me, did ultrasounds. They wanted to see if it was gallstones. It was not. Basically, all these tests came back negative, and everything was pretty much inconclusive, and they told me to kick rocks. They told me there's nothing they could do. It was severe gastritis, and they wrote me a prescription for some medication that helps prevent ulcers, I guess. I don't really remember what it was. Not that important, but they they put me on like 4 different kinds of medications. I had like a crazy medication schedule, and I had like alarms going off like constantly. So I was on this medication for a while. I was really not eating solid foods for a minute, and I had to like fast as part of the medication. There was like time frames in which I wasn't allowed to eat. So it was like really strict, and I was on one of the medications for a month. All of that did help. So whatever it was, I guess if it was severe gastritis, which is what they said it was, it helped all the medications I was on. So, but obviously my stomach issues still continue, and this is not what this video is about, but again, I've had long-term stomach issues like acid reflux, GI upset, that sort of thing, just an ongoing thing. So that's handled. I pay an $80 copay there, which I figured. It's an ER. Of course, there's going to be a high copay, right? I pay an $80 copay. Pretty much the only thing they did there was the ultrasound, and they took some blood samples, and then they just gave me some like medication, pretty much the same medication that they prescribed me. So the medication wasn't anything too expensive. So I get a bill around November for $1,199 and some change. I was like, okay, I know the ER is expensive, but holy shit. Like $1,000. All you guys did was took some blood samples and, so I was like, something has to be wrong. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call my insurance. I'm going to see if, they could help, because I've heard to do that. Call your insurance, make sure that the billing's all right. So I was like, hey, I just want to get this bill explained. The guy was helpful, or so I thought. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and look at that for you. It looks like they put in the wrong billing code. And I was like, yeah, like they put it in as like a non-emergency. But I explained like, hey, I had an urgent care physician tell me to go in. Like I was recommended to go to the ER. He said, okay, well, with all that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have them reevaluate that. Okay, cool. So then I got an email from them around Christmas time that was like, hey, actually, nope, everything was correct and you suck and you owe us money. I was like, sick. So I said, okay, well, obviously, $1,000, I don't want to pay $1,000. I don't, but I can figure it out. I can call them, make a payment plan. We'll talk about it. I had been kind of putting it off because I wanted to wait for the holidays to be over. God forbid I just buy my family some presents and enjoy the holidays. I was like, I'm going to deal with this in the new year when I am like of clear mind and stuff. Because it's a hospital bill. It's not like, a credit card company where they start charging you a bunch of interest. I know how hospital bills work. It's like, usually you can work with them and stuff. I went to call today, and also they sent me an email, right? So I looked at this email and I opened this statement that they sent. Somehow the new statement that they sent me over email said $2,364 or somewhere around that amount. And I was like, that's like more than double. Okay. Well, I guess about double, but $2,300. Where'd that number come from? So I call them. There has to be a mistake. Something's wrong. In this conversation, I was put on hold like 5 times. Like she just kept going, can I put you on a quick hold? Can I put you on a quick hold? Can I put you on a quick hold? And then she was progressively giving me more and more attitude as the conversation went on. And basically was just telling me, you need to talk to your insurance because it looks like the patient responsibility went up. There was an adjustment in November. And I was like, okay, how is there an adjustment? Like I was told that nothing changed by my insurance company, but I know that they did say that the billing code was wrong, that they were going to address the billing code. But the weird thing is, on the bill that she had and the bill that I had, it was saying that my insurance, Cigna, PPO, I'll call them out, Cigna paid them $1,300 or whatever. The total bill was $19,000, by the way. Before insurance or adjustments or whatever, $19,000. $19,000 for someone to give me an ultrasound and some vials of blood. $19,000. So, no, and by the way, I drove myself. It's not like there was any, So after all the adjustments, whatever, she basically kept saying your patient responsibility went up. There was an adjustment and your patient responsibility went up. And I said, okay, so my insurance is paying you less? And she said, yeah. And I said, then how come on the statement that I have and the statement that you have, the statement that, mind you, the statement that I have from November says that I owe $1,200. The statement she has says I owe $2,300. However, on both statements, it says that the insurance paid the exact same amount, $1,300. I said, why? First of all, how is it that the insurance paid the same amount on both statements, but my pay went so did you guys change the service amount? You guys changed the amount of the total that was being billed? She said, no, it's your insurance. Okay, but you just said that they paid you the same amount. Yes. And it was like, we were just talking in circles. And then she said, you need to talk to your insurance. I said, okay. And mind you, this was over the span of, can you hold please? Can you hold please? Yeah, it's it. Can you hold please? Yeah, it's it. Yeah, can you hold please? I'm on the phone for like 30, 45 minutes, right? I mean, I was like, okay. Eventually, I just hung up on her and I was like, I'm just going to call my insurance. She keeps telling me to call my insurance, so I better call my insurance. So I call my insurance and they tell me a bunch of numbers. Mind you, everyone's spitting numbers at me, okay, over the phone. And I can't get the new statement that says that I owe $2,300. I can't get it to load online. Now, it just says that I owe $2,300, but when I try to open the breakdown, it won't load, won't open. Now I'm trying to call my insurance. And they're like, actually, patient responsibility is $3,055. What is that number? Now it's $3,000? It went from $1,200 to $2,300 to $3,000. Where are these numbers coming from? And I just could not get a straight answer to save my life. They just kept throwing lingo at me and saying there was an adjustment made. There was an adjustment made. There was an adjustment made. Why was the adjustment made? Who made the adjustment? What does the adjustment mean? That your patient responsibility went up. But why? And when I even told the hospital, right, hey, you guys sent me a bill for $1,200. I said, can you see that bill? She said, no, I don't see that bill. Then why do I have it physically in my hands? I'm holding it, a bill from you guys for $1,200. I'm holding it. And so basically insurance is like, well, we sent them another check. And there was this whole confusing, they sent more money than the $1,300, but my responsibility was still $3,000. And I said, I don't understand that. Like, I'm so confused. And she was like, okay, I'm going to get us on a call, 3-way call, you, me, and the hospital. I said, great. She keeps trying to call them. They won't answer. She's like, how about I give you a call back? I said, okay. It's about an hour and a half later, I have no calls from her. So I guess I'm just going to have to call back tomorrow or something. I don't know. And also, it sucks because I'm like, that much money is like 2 months of work. It's 2 months of my life that I don't get back. These hospitals are charging exorbitant, is that the right word? Like, a lot of money, okay? All these hospitals, all these medical providers are charging far more than any other country. If any other country, okay, is going to charge you less, and this is without insurance. They're not even going to, because the American insurance wouldn't work in Mexico or Canada or wherever. Like, literally fill in the blanks, okay? You could go to any country and the hospitals are not going to charge as much as American hospitals. We're a joke. These other countries make fun of us all the time because the way that our medical industry is run. And yet somehow people like me, regular people who are working every day, are still being hit with these bills. And I don't know what to do. I'm trying. But now I owe like 2 months of wages because I went to the ER like I was told to do because I needed medical assistance. Like, this is why I didn't want to go see a gastroenterologist. I was afraid of how much they were going to charge me. I remember they were going to charge me $200 just for initial testing, and I was like, oh, I don't have $200. Well, now I have to come up with $3,000. So not to get too sidetracked, but I have been struggling at work a lot. There's just a lot of pressure. And, like I even said, there was almost repercussions because I had to go to the ER. And now there's not only repercussions from my workplace, but now there's repercussions for me financially from my insurance and from the hospital that I went to. I just don't understand. I don't understand why this is the country that I'm living in. Like, I don't understand why it's like this. I don't understand why it doesn't matter how much people talk about it or we complain about it or we like beg and plead for things to change, that things are getting worse. They're not changing, they're getting worse. I'm blessed enough that I know I could come up with the money. I can't imagine what it's like for people that they owe like $20,000, $30,000 or more. I've seen up to like $100,000 for people that have like ongoing medical problems. And it's all just some sick game for these people. It's a sick game. How many people are they going to run dry? How many GoFundMes are going to be made? How many Luigi Mangionis are there going to be? And And I don't really want to hear it's the Republicans, it's the Democrats. I actually genuinely don't want to hear that because, to be honest with you, there was one politician historically in the last 10 plus years or whenever he ran originally. Yeah, it was 10 years ago when Bernie Sanders was running for president, and he was the only person who was running on a platform of trying to change this broken system that is threatening our livelihood. It's threatening us. It's threatening our lives. This is not, this imaginary, I don't understand how you can sit there and be afraid of trans people or black people or brown people when the hospitals are literally trying to kill you. They're trying to rob you of everything that you have. They're trying to bleed you dry financially or you die. Those are your options. What do we do? I don't want to hear one side or the other because realistically, both parties have failed us monumentally. This country has failed us. And again, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. But I can't sit here and act like this didn't wear me down, that this didn't beat me up, that this didn't discourage me and just make me feel hopeless and scared. Because what if something happened to me and it was serious? What if I needed more medical attention? What if I needed more than just an ultrasound and some vials of blood? What would they have charged me then? Because I have the wrong insurance, I guess? Because I have a PPO? That's my fault. I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I just signed up for what my company was offering, but now I'm going to have to look at other options that they're offering, I guess. And it's scary because it's I can't take breaks from work. I can't take time off. I have to make sure that I have the funds to cover this. And it's this never-ending cycle of being overworked. And then whatever money you do make is going towards paying these people, these billionaires, these CEOs. I don't know at what point things change, but what I will say is, what will I say? This is my story and it's not over, but it's so much worse for everybody else. When do we change? I guess what I want to add quickly is it shouldn't be my responsibility to hound my insurance company or the hospital billing or whatever. This should not be my responsibility. I pay for insurance every month. My employer pays for my insurance every month. I pay the co-pays. I pay whatever I'm supposed to pay. What I should be getting is a clear answer about how much I owe and why I owe that amount. And the fact that I'm getting multiple bills and they're increasingly getting higher and higher, and I have to track people down to get answers as to why that's happening, that's not okay. It's not okay. The amount of times that I've looked up on the internet what to do and people say, make sure that your insurance isn't overcharging you. Make sure they're billing you correctly. Make sure. How am I supposed to make sure? Am I supposed to read through 100 pages of documentation? Am I supposed to read am I a lawyer? What I don't have time for that. I don't have time. That's what I pay my insurance for, so that they handle it. I don't know. Whatever. Thanks for listening to me anyway.